Hello, for this version of This or That, I'm going to be speaking about your tax refund and whether or not you should optimize that to continue to receive big kind of tax refunds come tax season or try to reduce those as much as possible. Technically, there's a third option, and that would be underpaying your taxes. Not really a choice or a valid option because you have penalty payments and late charges and things like that. So it doesn't really make it a valuable option to choose from. So let's focus on the two that could make sense. The most obvious one and the most utilized one is paying your taxes the same way that you always have been and getting the tax refunds that you typically get. Really easy to do, doesn't really take much planning, and you just kind of deal with whatever falls in your lap come tax season. There's a few pros and cons to that, so definitely the pros, easy, you don't really have to plan for it. If you begin a tax refunds and your situation hasn't changed and the tax reform hasn't changed to the point where it negatively impacted you, then that's easy. You'll get a refund of some amount, but you're not going to know what that is because of different things that adjust and change over time. The other easy aspect of it is that it's built-in savings for you. So it's kind of nice that if you know that you spend every single dollar it hits your bank account, then at least this is kind of helping you save along the way. But really where the cons and the negative side of this comes about is that lump sum aspect almost feels like it's won money or found money, so it's a lot easier to spend it. It's kind of similar to what happens with lottery winners. There's not too many lottery winners that are able to maintain that wealth because since it was free money to them and they see it as unearned money, it's really easy to spend through it, or they feel an obligation to spend it almost. So that's really the biggest downside with that big tax refund is improperly using it. And then also you can create habits that are bad. So if you're spending more because of that tax refund for a month or two and you run out of those funds, but you kind of built up your spending habits and that momentum of spending, and maybe you carry on past even what that tax refund was, and you end up overspending even more. So definitely can develop bad habits from that lump sum of money kind of lying in your pocket that way. So something to be aware of. Not right or wrong. I think it's more of just being intentional with what you're going to be using those funds for, and definitely at least a portion of it, if not all of it, could be applied towards more long-term goals that are going to add more value to your situation and your goals and more value to your life practically. So the other alternative is going to be planning, and there's actually an IRS tool where you can calculate what your withholding should be for your W-4. And so this is something I review with my clients twice a year to make sure that whether they want to get a tax refund or not, we have a good idea of what their tax situation is going to be, and then we model it however they prefer. If they want to get that big tax refund, then we try to target what that refund will be, so it's a little bit more planning oriented. But if they don't want to, then they can increase their cash flow now. So basically that's what that tool will allow you to do, is decide how much to have withheld and how much to expect with your tax refund. Usually when you're going to use that tool, it's because you don't want to pay more in taxes than you need to. And so you can actually bring down what that tax refund is going to be, but increase your monthly paycheck every single month. And so that has some benefits because you can be a lot more intentional about what you're doing with the funds. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to do the right things with them. So with additional cash flow coming in, if there's not a plan in place, then you're probably going to spend it. So either option that you choose, it all comes down to being intentional with what you can be doing or should be doing. But when you increase your cash flow, that's really the benefit there, that you can start to apply it towards goals and things that are going to make more sense for you. And then it really does empower people to have more control over their spending habits and basically with what they're doing with their tax funds, rather than lending it to the government for free, because the government doesn't pay you interest back. You're able to optimize it that way. So again, there's not really a right or wrong. It's more of just an understanding of what the different options mean to you, and understanding what your behavioral aspects are and what's going to help you better achieve your goals and do what's best for your family. So hopefully that was helpful, and yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions or in-depth questions about this. I'd love to help. Take care.